Well, yeah. Whoa. Fantastic. Great. I love that stuff. Might play it again. Anyway, I think best way to raise tax receipts, best way to tax the rich, lower marginal tax rates. Hey, that's what the data show. We may discuss this. Christian Weller, senior fellow at the Center for American Progress, and John Fund, who writes for the Wall Street Journal's Opinion.com. We also have with us CNBC's John Harwood. Christian, let me start with you. I think all of the data suggests you want to raise revenues, balance the budget, you want to tax rich people, lower their marginal tax rates, Christian. You ready to sign up?
The big discussion that we need to have is how do we promote growth and use the tax code. We know what didn't work, and that was cutting dividend taxes, estate taxes, capital gains taxes. That just simply didn't do it. The evidence is clear. The IMF has concluded that. The OECD has concluded that. The Joint Tax Committee has concluded that. Clearly, the tax cuts that we had in 2003 just didn't do what they were supposed to do. They didn't promote stock market growth, and they didn't promote, more importantly, investment growth. We have had a period of slow productivity growth, and I think that's really the issue we need to talk about.
I want to challenge you a little bit, Christian, my friend. I want to challenge you a little bit. I want to put some charts up on the full screen. Dividends have gone up substantially in the past 4 years. We have that chart. We can get it up there. At the lower tax rate, which dropped from 40% to 15%, we've seen a huge rise in dividends. I think it's just about a doubling, 100% gain. And secondly, as we've seen in the past, lower capital gains tax rates have produced a tremendous stock market, which has doubled, and cap gains revenues has far outstripped the CBO estimates.
But the international estimates show that we would have had those gains even without the tax cuts.
Well,
that's what the OECD and the IMF conclude.
Well,
but more importantly,
the Congressional Budget Office, hold on a second, they're talking about $60 billion. I'm going to bring John Fund in, but John, the CBO predicted $60 billion in capital gains revenues. The number came out to be $134 billion. So I'm not sure what which country he's talking about.
Look, I feel like I'm in an alternate universe. The IMF, if the IMF wants to say that the tax cuts didn't work, we all know how well the IMF's advice to other countries works, so I wouldn't necessarily cite them as an authority. The Treasury numbers are indisputable. We have had a gusher of revenue coming in, and it's largely been from capital gains realization and from investment. This is an investment-driven recovery, and this is a recovery that's lasted longer than it has. It has lasted long. Let me finish, please. It has lasted longer than most other recoveries. So I have to say, I don't know where you think this recovery came from. It didn't come from the tooth fairy.
But now,
the investment growth numbers here show very clearly.
Hold on a second.
Chris, hold on one second. John Harwood, go ahead.
Larry and John, now I'm a referee here, but let me ask you. You know Bob Rubin, right? You respect him. Smart guy.
I do respect him, although I disagree with him on tax rates.
Bob Rubin agrees with Christian and says that the dividend and cap gains tax cuts have not really had an effect on the economy.
Unfortunately, President Clinton disagreed with Bob Rubin, and President Clinton signed a lower cap gains tax.
Who's more credible to you, Larry, Bill Clinton or Bob Rubin?
Well, I think Clinton had that right because the economy soared in the second term, Christian Weller, and capital gains revenues are what really pushed the budget into surplus.
Well, let's put the revenue side of the issue aside. What really matters here is investment growth. And investment growth and investment overall in the economy has been extremely meager, especially once you take depreciation out. Has been the lowest for any business cycle. Productivity growth has been slowing. And really, so that's really ultimately what we're looking for. The revenue side, we wouldn't have the deficits if it hadn't been for the tax cuts.
I think growth is pretty... why is it that we have a chart that shows total tax receipts for the budget? They're actually much higher today than they were at the peak of the 2000 cycle. We could put that up there. So, John Fund, let me ask you this. If there's a threat of recession in the air, I don't agree with it, but whatever. Credit crunch, you name it, John. Why are the Democrats going to raise taxes? Will that win? You think that's a winning message, John Fund?
Well, I think they're going to have to fine-tune their message because right now they all oppose reinstating certain parts of the Bush tax cuts, and they haven't decided which parts they want to retain. I think that's going to have to be sorted out by the eventual nominee. John Harwood had an excellent piece in today's Journal in which he pointed out we are frozen in terms of discussing tax policy. We need a Republican nominee so they can put their program forward, and a Democratic nominee. Until then, Congress is playing shadowboxing here. They don't really want to grapple with the issue because they're afraid that the nominees will go off in different directions.
Now, John, I want to ask you about another issue here.
John Harwood, we are out of time. We are out of time. John, I just want you one sentence, please. There are a lot of tax hike proposals, John Harwood, coming up in the congressional session after Labor Day. Your quick take. 6 words.
not a one of them is going to become law.
Yeah, all right. That's the key point. Bush got the veto pen. Christian Weller, much more to be revealed. We appreciate your spunk and fight.
Thank you very much for having me, Larry.
John Fund, as always. No, I want to have you guys.